This is from NHK World Japan. I've said previously that a lot of people don't really associate Japan per se with it, but Japan actually has a fantastic jazz music scene. And it's actually got a long storied history with jazz music. And so what we're about to see is something that's part of Japanese culture and has been for a long time, even before the war. They're called jazz kissa. They are special audiophile jazz cafes. Not quite the same as a jazz bar where you would go to get a cocktail and listen to, say, live music from a jazz quartet or trio. This is more of a haven for audiophiles to gather, drink some fancy coffee or tea, enjoy some snacks, and also take in music on an audiophile grade sound system. Cassiope Mint Jams was the album I was trying to remember earlier. Oh, I see. Good night, Timothy Sticklepasty. Take care. I know it's late for some people. But yes, this is an episode of Japanology Plus, hosted by Peter Berakan on NHK World Japan. Let's take a look at Jazz Kissa.
A cup of coffee on the table. Shelves lined with thousands of jazz records.
That is a lot of vinyl.
At the far end of the room, a pair of huge, imposing speakers.
Look at that setup, chat. I mean, the speakers, they are massive. I mean, look at that. JBL, this is an old JBL preamp. It looks like preamps with vacuum tubes. This is high-end equipment that we're looking at here, chat. This, you could either buy yourself a luxury car, or for the same amount of money, you can get a system like this that literally will make you feel like you are there live, listening to whoever's performing.
And several patrons lost in the music.
Yeah, this is so quiet and serene and relaxing.
This is a jazz kissa. Jazz kissa are cafes dedicated to playing jazz records. They are a uniquely Japanese institution that first emerged about 100 years ago.
Gosh, it's been that long.
This distinct style of quiet listening has also started to catch on in the West. But enthusiasts are grappling with how to sustain jazz kissa into the future.
It's like good whiskey selection there. Jim Beam, Suntory Old Whiskey, Suntory Gold Label.
In this episode, we explore the roots and appeal of the jazz kissa and the efforts being made to keep the music playing.
Hello, welcome to Japanology Plus. I'm Peter Berakan.
Hello, Peter Berakan.
Today we're going to be exploring the world of jazz kissa, which is going to be up my street. These days, everybody streams music on their phones, but if you go around Japan, you'll still find a number of cafes that are dedicated to jazz, very often played on vintage vinyl and high-end audio. I can remember in the mid-70s when I first came to Tokyo, I was absolutely blown away when I first encountered one of these places. The jazz kissa phenomenon is uniquely Japanese, but recently they seem to have inspired similar establishments in Europe and in America as well.
Good.
On today's program, we'll look at the
origins
of jazz kissa and how they've changed over the years.
Jazz kissa are places where customers can enjoy listening to recordings of jazz while drinking coffee.
My kind of scene. Honestly, my kind of scene.
Much more than simple background music. It's the main event.
It's the next best thing to live.
This jazz kissa is in an area of Tokyo with a large student population. It opened in 2008. The owner hoped to create a space where people could truly immerse themselves in jazz. Some 2,000 records line the walls.
2,000?
Their music is brought to life through top-tier sound systems.
Macintosh and Marantz. That is high-grade stuff.
These vintage 1980s speakers deliver sound that feels like a live performance.
Those Macintosh amps must be easily 10 grand, maybe more.
魂が全力で働いて るプレイヤーみたいなのが好きなんで、そういう人をかけたいし、やっぱり喋っちゃうとどうしてもその時は聞かない。
Yeah, there's rules with these places. It's not so bad if you're going to like a jazz bar at night where conversation is encouraged whilst you listen to live music. But a jazz Kissa, no talking. You got to shut up when you're in there, because if you're yapping, other people can't enjoy the music. The music really is taking center stage and is to be the focus of your attention. Oh, and some of these places, yeah, they're that old-fashioned, cash only, no cards accepted. It's like a museum show. I suppose so, in a way, yeah.
ないことになっちゃうし、まあできれば本当に目からの情報もなく
Yeah,
して、
lots of people
もう目つ
closing
ぶっ
their
て
eyes,
集中して聞いてもらえればいい。
just really
それが
zeroing in on the music.
聞いてもらい方なんで。
Sure enough, all the customers sit in silence, focusing on the jazz.
This is an introvert's paradise.
他の人だとなんか本当になんか BGM みたいな感じでみんなとご飯食べるついでに
Yeah, it's not meant for the background here.
同じレコードでもイヤホンとかで聴いてるよりもこんなプレイしてたんだみたいなのがすごい思います。
なんかこう仕事のことだったりとか他のプライベートのこととかも全部忘れてものすごく集中して聴けた時にすっきりして気分よく楽しめるなっていうのが。
This jazz Kissa, in an old, unpretentious residential neighborhood, opened in 2019.
That's the great thing about so many of these is they really are just your friendly neighborhood cafes. The focus is on high-end audiophile systems playing really good jazz music.
Owned by 84-year-old Kogure Sadao.
Now
His
that's the
sound
way to
setup
spend
is
your
the
retirement
product of
years.
over 4 decades of collecting as a hobby. With a background in electrical work, Kogure is laser-focused on sound quality. To power his
Artistic
equipment, he
obsession.
generates his own electricity with a motor.
That is an autistic level of obsession with detail, to where he's not even satisfied with the current coming out of the mains. Generates his own power locally to maintain consistent sound amplification, especially on old analog preamps. Yeah, I can get that. I can vibe with that.
いろいろトランス使ったりやってて最後に発電機に立ったんです。送電線に全部電波が入ってるんです。それを
Yeah, you get that hum.
アンプまで
It's hard to filter out
それ
sometimes.
と一緒にみんな音を聞いてるからだから本当のレコードの音っていうのは出てこないですね。
Jazz Kissa come in
Most people would never be able to pick up on that sort of thing. Especially the older you get, the more your hearing is just shot. It's really quite admirable, that obsessive level of detail he has. But it's also quintessentially Japanese, isn't it?
all shapes and sizes, but they all share one common goal.
Look at those old vacuum
Immerse yourself
tubes.
in high-quality sound, much like the experience of watching a movie
that
in
wood.
a theatre.
Like wood paneling. I love it.
Hello.
こんにちは。
Kusunose-san, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. よろしくお願いいたします。
よろしくお願いします。
Our guest today is Kusunose Katsumasa. He documents jazz kissa from around Japan on his website.
He wrote the book on it. And this is it. This is the book that he wrote on it. It's like those wine tasters who can taste the dirt where the grapes and the wine grew. I suppose a few very gifted people could do that, but if there's a lot of people making that claim, I think a lot of them are full of it. But there are some people that, yeah, they are that talented.
In
They have that heightened
2025,
sense of
he
taste.
also released a photo book through an Italian publisher. Taken over a
You know what
span
that
of
tracks?
15 years, his atmospheric photos cover everything from newly opened cafes to those that have already closed
Look at that whole
down.
setup. That is incredible.
I know you write a lot about jazz kissa on the web. I presume you must have been to quite a lot of them. How many are there all over Japan?
I'd say about 500 places have this distinct style.
So, where are we off to first?
A place called Eagle, probably Tokyo's largest jazz kisser today. It's an old-school jazz kisser with 50 seats.
I have been there before, but a very long time
50,
ago.
that
So I'm
sounds
kind of looking
really
forward
small.
to that. Okay. Well, it's been a long time.
Our first stop is
Oh,
a
it's
jazz
cozy.
kisser dating back to 1967.
You definitely get show ahead of vibes with
With
this.
4,000 records and nearly 8,000 CDs,
God
the shop
almighty.
caters to all jazz tastes.
Konnichiwa.
Oh,
It's
There's
really
the
nice in here. It's a very kind of cool interior.
I love
It's the
that.
sound-
I love those JBL speakers that just flush with the walls like that. It's like you're stepping into a private home cinema.
Sound system still the same as when you opened.
Actually, things have changed little by little.
Oh?
In the old days, people would be leaning in like this to listen to John Coltrane. That style is great too, but today we might get a young woman coming into work on her laptop. Customers like that treat the jazz more like unintrusive background music. I try to strike a balance where if you focus, you hear every detail. But if you step back and let it fade into the background, the music is not intrusive. We want
like
to be a
that.
gateway for people interested in jazz. The wider the entrance, the better.
It's sort of like, I guess you could call it almost like a Zen balance of jazz music. I rather like that. That's brilliant.
From opening until 6 p.m., quiet listening is encouraged. After that, the space turns into a jazz bar where conversation is permitted.
Okay, so it's a little bit
I
of
know
both.
that a
then,
lot
yeah.
of jazz
All right.
kissa have a rule that you're not supposed to talk.
Yes.
Even before World War II, Japan had a long-standing culture of listening quietly in jazz cafes and classical music cafes. But it wasn't until around 1960 that this culture became significantly stricter and more radical. It
Probably, the whole thing of people, moving up in the world and just a growth from kind of post-war, second world economy being brought back up to first world. And a lot of people moving from the country to the city, not familiar with the manners and customs. So they're thinking, oh, it's just a music cafe. You can talk while you listen, that sort of thing. It's like, no, not with this. Not with this. This is a bit different. Grew up listening and playing jazz. Sounds like a place I would probably spend several hours and many days just sort of sipping my life away in a cafe like this. And I would be perfectly content. This is just wonderful. Quiet time before pub time. Yeah, pretty much.
began with one cafe in Shinjuku called Mokuba. It was probably the most famous jazz kisser at the time. They were the first to enforce a strict no-talking rule. This is said to be one of the primary reasons the trend spread across the rest of Japan.
Why do you think it became like that?
In the 60s, records were extremely expensive. Just one could cost as much as a third of your monthly salary. Of course, most regular people couldn't afford them. So they went to Jazz Kissa to listen for the price of a cup of coffee. Once there, they didn't want anything to distract them from the music they'd come to hear.
They had a similar setup for a long time with television. They did this with radio, with sound systems to playback audio recordings, but also sort of a communal watching in public spaces with television in Japan, because for a long time, until about the 1960s, television was nearly completely out of reach for everyone except for the wealthy and the elites in Japan. So you see a lot of like old newsreel footage from around that time where you got people gathering in a public space to watch television on this tiny little TV screen. And it's like, if you don't watch it there, you're not going to be able to see it anywhere else because televisions were expensive back then.
The sound of other customers' voices Or, in extreme cases, even the rustling of a newspaper could be enough to spark a fight.
Oh dear.
Jazz Kissa first emerged about 100 years ago when Western culture was flooding into Japan.
Shortly
Jazz
after
was
the
one
Meiji
part of this
restoration.
wave, but at the time, records were a luxury that few could afford.
A lot of people don't know this, but I believe it was jazz music that inspired a lot of the modern music in Japan, a lot of the pop music. Before it was all traditional sounds, but the first modern sounds of music that they had imported to Japan was jazz music. So in a way, you can sort of trace the lineage of there's this line of succession from jazz imports in the early 20th century all the way up to modern J-pop.
The cafes provided a space where people could listen to jazz on a budget. But with the outbreak of World War II, Japan's government moved to eliminate American cultural influences, and Jazz Kissa vanished from the scene.
Yeah. Jazz was a uniquely American phenomenon, and when war broke out, they didn't want any of those sorts of influences in the public consciousness or in culture. So it was all banned because last thing they needed was the people sympathizing in any way, shape, or form with the Americans. Honestly, never would have put that together. Yeah, no, a lot of people are sort of unawares, but yeah.
As soon as the war ended, they made an immediate comeback.
Back at it.
In the 1960s, a wave of famous jazz musicians performed in Japan, sparking a nationwide jazz boom. For those unable to attend live shows, Jazz Kissa used high-end audio systems to recreate a concert-like atmosphere. This proved a hit, and the practice spread around the country.
I'm now taking you to Tokyo's oldest surviving Jazz Kissa. It's been in business since 1960.
We've been in business for over 60 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Looking forward to this.
Shall we go?
Let's go.
No smoking, cash only.
Take your life into your hands coming up these stairs.
Come on in.
Steep.
Hello.
Hello.
Tight quarters.
Welcome.
You feel like you're traveling back in time.
These appear to be rather rare. These are either rare bottles of Japanese whiskey, or they are reserved bottles of whiskey. It is possible to reserve your own bottle of whiskey at certain establishments in Japan. Especially if you are a frequent repeat customer, you can reserve a bottle. And, you know, when you get there, it's just like, take a glass from my usual bottle, please.
Welcome.
You feel like you're traveling back in time.
This place is actually known for having been visited by John Coltrane himself.
Really?
That's right.
My goodness. Jazz royalty there. How's the coffee taste?
What kind of a sound system do you have here?
Just one speaker. Inside there.
A mono system.
Yeah,
That's it.
monaural circuit.
Ah, that's interesting. Must be one of the very, very few places that are doing that these days.
I don't think you'll find this anywhere else. This is a Japanese-made player. The preamp and power amp.
All Japanese made. I mean, the Japanese, they've made fantastic amps and preamps, and the turntables. I mean, well, just think about it. Gold standard for so long has been Technics, part of the Panasonic family, which the original name for Panasonic was Matsushita. Reminds me of this ice cream shop where I lived by. Super steep stairs to go upstairs to the second floor of the place. Yeah, very similar sort of vibe. It's an old place. Definitely have to be careful going up the stairs.
Made by one of our regulars.
Handmade.
Oh my goodness. Now I wonder what type of turntable they have. It looks like possibly an old Sunsui? Maybe? Not sure. They're probably not going to show us because it's NHK. They don't like showing off brands. A such tight quarters they had to use GoPros for the multi-camera angles. Ino Kikuchi Quintet.
You're not the original proprietor, are you?
No, I'm not. I was a customer.
Oh. When and how did you take over?
The woman who ran this place for all those years passed away 6 years ago. We were both customers, and we took over together after that.
Oh, the two of you.
That is dedication. They are doing this for the love of the game, and good on them. I mean, I can imagine they didn't want something like this to just die with the owner, which is a big problem with a lot of businesses in Japan, that they don't have any real successors to take over the business when the owners retire. So often they just close, or they're dissolved, or they're broken up into pieces and sold off to the highest bidder. Which, I mean, really there remains an incredible opportunity for someone with foreign capital who has good liaisons and connections into a local economy somewhere, go in and buy some of these businesses, maybe even some businesses in the same sort of sector of the economy, and you can build up one hell of a conglomerate that way, while still keeping it local, and still keeping the talent, and keeping everything in country. Incredible opportunity if you know where to look, and if you've got the capital going in.
Her husband started it, right?
That's right.
Okay.
They decided to forego a wedding ceremony, putting that money into this place instead.
Whoa, amazing.
Kind of smart.
So she was a real jazz fan.
There was one thing she said that I'll never forget. I was talking, and she said, "The best customers are the ones who just sit and drink their beer in silence."
She was very warm toward customers who came in for serious listening.
It's true. She was like that. Lately, I've been talking to jazz Kissa fans who come from abroad. They always praise Japan's scene, because everyone actually listens. It feels like more and more people are coming to appreciate the attentive, respectful attitude toward the music.
I agree.
Yeah, you're not gonna find any Johnny Somali types frequenting these sorts of establishments. They throw people like that out, and they don't think twice about it.
Certainly seen an increase in visitors from abroad who come here to immerse themselves in the jazz.
Plus one.
Hello everyone and welcome to Plus One. I'm Kyle Card. Today I'm in Yokohama and I'm very excited about today's theme of Jazz Kissa. So today we're going to visit one of the oldest jazz kissas in all of Japan and find out what they're doing to preserve its history and culture. All right, so today I'm going to meet someone who is going to take me to the oldest jazz kissa. I'm supposed to meet him around here. Oh, that looks like him. Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Great, nice to meet you. I'm Kyle.
I'm James, good to meet you.
Great to meet you, James.
Our guide is James Catchpole. He has lived in Japan for 25 years.
Looks like Russell Crowe.
He runs a website showcasing Japan's jazz spots for an international audience and has worked on a photo book documenting disappearing jazz
I would love
kissa.
to collect these photo books. It was
All right.
beautiful work.
Nice. Ooh.
If only every place had that policy when it came to pests, right? I mean, more and more places in Japan, they certainly are. They've gotten wise to nuisance streamers and the like, and yeah, they're not putting up with it anymore.
They really got some atmosphere to them, don't they?
No, they're just absolutely stunningly beautiful places. I mean, for a jazz fan, each one is
I
like a
love
little
that
bit
warm
ahead of it in
lighting.
its own way. You know, they've all got their own character. They've all got their own sound,
Beautiful.
whatever
I
the
love
master's
that grill
collection
in
might
front
be.
of the.
So I hear you're going to take me
controls.
to Japan's oldest jazz kissa.
I am, and it's right here. Or it's supposed to be right here.
That's a hole in the ground, mate. I think you might have lost it.
It's gone.
It is gone. Chigusa was built in 1933 on this street, and then they built the second version here, which was open until just 2 years ago.
Really?
Yes.
Just missed it. Wow.
Exactly.
Oh, don't know. Bad luck.
Founded by Yoshida Mamoru in 1933, Chigusa in Yokohama is Japan's oldest surviving jazz kissa.
Oh, Ripperoni.
Talking is strictly prohibited. The cafe is a favorite spot for jazz fans and musicians seeking a high-quality listening experience.
A lot of long-time clientele.
But due to the building's age, the original structure was demolished, and the plan is for the cafe to reopen in a building to be constructed.
Now they've made a separate space, just one station away, where they've got sort of a temporary museum type of environment.
So can you take me to its current form?
Yeah, for sure. Let's go. It's a little bit of a walk. Well, it's on over there.
All right, cool.
That's all right. The exercise will do you good.
So Chigusa moved to this street right near the Kanai station a couple years ago, and they found this office in this tiny, tiny building. You can see it's like, yeah, they put the sign out here, and it's up on the second floor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Let's go in?
All right, sure.
Still getting some Showa era vibes. I can tell they were selective with this sort of place.
So many records and photos of musicians.
It's basically kind of like an old-style Kissa, but it's really like a museum.
Konnichiwa.
Hello.
Thanks
for coming.
Is all the records and all the decor from the original shop?
That's right. All original.
This temporary venue was established to preserve Chigusa's legacy during the...
I love this. They've got dual turntables built right into the countertop. This is a countertop that was custom made for I mean, it has to be a custom setup, but made for something like a jazz setup or for DJing. That's gorgeous.
Transition.
I love that.
A group of volunteers
Look at that.
consisting of regular customers and fans formed a preservation committee to manage
It's
the
so
shop,
high end too.
carrying on founder Yoshida's.
You got an old Victrola over here. I don't know if you recognize this. Perhaps some of you do. But this was how not vinyl records but shellac records were played originally. You'd wind the thing up, set down the needle, and it'd play these 78 RPMs. No electrics, nothing like that. And you'd open up these two doors here, and the sound would come out that way. Shellac record, yes. Old 78 RPM records were played at a higher speed. Couldn't really store a whole lot of music on them, and they did not use what were known as micro grooves, like what you would see with 33 or 45 RPM records. So a bit more of a crude construction, very brittle too. If you drop them, they would shatter into pieces. Not like vinyl records, like the 33s and 45s. You drop those, they'll get scratched, but you know they'll survive. But yeah, that's and those are custom Technics turntables that they're working with in that countertop there. That is a gorgeous setup. I am just enamored with that. Yeah, old shellac records, they didn't have micro grooves. The audio information that they carried was not the highest of quality, and they tend to wear out a lot quicker, scratched easier, and obviously they broke a lot easier. So if you find any that are in good condition that have not been played or played only a handful of times, those are incredibly rare because nobody really makes shellac records. No sound on Rumble? I don't know what you're talking about. Considering they were among the first incarnations of records, it stands to reason people haven't come up with a more viable format yet. Yeah, I mean, the superior format is the compact disc. Even it can deteriorate over time with things like laser rot, but it is the best of the best in terms of format.
Original vision. Here, visitors can enjoy the shop's collection of over 3,500 vinyl records.
But the advent of 33 and 45 RPM records, those utilize micro grooves. They're able to store a whole lot more information, and so you can have I think a total of roughly 45 minutes worth of audio on both sides of one modern 33 RPM record. And of course, with 33s, you also came with the advent of stereophonic sound. Whereas with 78 RPM shellac records and some of the older type 33 RPM records, those were presented in mono sound. Check the Rumble stream audio seems fine. No. Good.
This is not technically running a shop. This is a supporters association. It's a Chigusa supporters association. So it's all the old customers came together to say, hey, we don't want this place closing. This is part of our history. An essential part of Japanese jazz history is Chigusa. It's known around the world.
That old table.
We can't let it close down.
Those chairs.
And so they've all come together, and on different days, you'll have different staff members come in.
Everyone's a volunteer.
Yes.
That's
The
incredible.
venue is meant to preserve Chigusa's heritage. As a new space, we named it Music Chronicle Yokohama. Because it's a chronicle, we want people to experience more than just the records and equipment. We hope they can feel the atmosphere and the culture of the era. We want to create a mix of cultures, not just jazz, something new to pass on to the next generation.
Whether it's part of Japanese culture or the Japanese temperament, I believe people here have an inherent desire to seek out and enjoy interesting new things. That kind of spirit is part of the Japanese character, which is why I want to create...
We'll go back to his comments, but look at that. It's not even a metal stylus, it is a wooden stylus that he's using. That's kind of a testament to, in some ways, how tough these old 78 RPM shellac records really are, that you could use like a very pointy stone and still manage to play those types of records. Some people used a fine metal stylus needle, or sometimes they used these sort of flat wood stylus. Now these days with 33 and 45 RPM records, that's typically a microscopic level diamond stylus that they use with those. But these old shellac records, you could use something like this. Let's back up what he was talking about here.
The next generation.
Whether it's part of Japanese culture or the Japanese temperament, I believe people here have an inherent desire to seek out and enjoy interesting new things. That kind of spirit is part of the Japanese character, which is why I want to create spaces that stimulate people's sense of curiosity.
So going forward, how do we preserve like jazz Kissa culture for not only Japan, but for the world?
Especially post-COVID, people are looking for that interaction, that way of communication that you can't get digitally. And we're all addicted to our phones.
They want to go back to third
We'll admit that,
spaces.
but the fact is when you come to a jazz Kissa and you put your phone away and you sit down and just let the music come over you, or you start talking to the neighbor, your neighboring customer, you realize how much you missed it. How great it is to feel that feeling of the music coming into you and the feeling of communicating with other people. And you see that, wow, this is great, I'm gonna come back again. I've taken a lot of people to Jazz Kissa for the first time. They don't even like jazz, you know, or they don't even know about it. And they were like, immediately they were like, James, now I get it, why you come here, this is really great. And you can see that like now there's this growth of listening bars around the world, which are kind of slightly different thing to Jazz Kissa, but the idea is still the same. It's that, okay, we all know we can listen to this stuff at home, but it's not the same as going to a place with other people. And like the manager was saying, young Japanese people are coming in. And they're still like, wow, you know, my grandfather used to go to a Jazz Kissa. Yeah. You know, it kind of had that Desai sort of not cool image, you know? When they come in and they realize how great and warm it actually is. Jazz Kissa are very warm places. They're warm with music. They're warm with the energy of communicating with the people there.
I love
Today,
that.
new styles.
It's sort of a, you could say it's sort of a third space for introverts. Not necessarily your typical place of socialization like your pubs or a bar or a night spot or something like that. But it's still a third space where people can gather and partake of something that they all mutually enjoy.
Of Jazz Kissa are emerging all across Japan. This one just opened in 2025 in Ogaki, Gifu Prefecture.
Silly putty.
A largely glass facade allows natural light to fill the room and gives passers-by a clear view inside.
Sort of invites you in.
ジャズ喫茶っていうと敷居が高い、入りにくい、重い扉を開けたら中真っ暗とかいうのが今まで昔の ねジャズ喫茶の感じなんですけども、うちはそうじゃなくてガラスが一面入り口あって中が見える。で中も明るい。お客さん同士でこう会話してもらっても全然構いませんよっていう日本一入りやすいジャズカフェということをコンセプトに目指してやってます。
encourage conversation there.
There is, of course, no compromise on sound. A balanced jazz tone resonates in the air from deep lows to crisp highs. This shop is
Vacuum tubes on the
particularly
preamps.
popular with women.
ジャズ喫茶ってなんか暗いイメージで男の世界って感じがするんですけど、けどここは明るくて、なので外から見てもオープンな感じで入りやすくて選び
I
ま
mean,
し
it
た。
really is for everyone.
Our next stop is a jazz kissa in Okazaki, Aichi Prefecture. From the outside, it looks like a traditional Japanese house. But venture further in, and we're greeted by a colossal speaker system.
Good God.
Only a handful of these systems are said to exist in Japan. It's 2.63 meters across and weighs a staggering 320 kilograms. This unique
Good luck
cafe
moving that
has
around.
jazz music with Japanese wagashi sweets.
Oh, that's delicious.
こういう作りなもんですから、なんかやっぱり喫茶店らしからぬ、ましてこうジャズが流れてるというような
It's very
雰囲気がないもん
nondescript.
ですから、それが逆に好まれてるみたいです。
Dutch Matrix, welcome in. This is cool. Glad I caught this. Yeah, we're looking at jazz kissa, or jazz cafes in Japan. Thought it was just several speakers assembled together. Oh no, that's one single unit. Probably need a forklift just to move it about. Thank you for redeeming Not First. Also, hello.
This neighborhood, Shimokitazawa, has always been a kind of funky place. Lots of bars, restaurants, places to hear live music. I've never been to a jazz kissa here, though, I don't think.
Our next stop is known for jazz, high-end audio,
That's
and
time
hot
for everything.
dogs.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what? Hot dogs, of all
There's
things.
the hot dog.
Oh, you know you've arrived
List.
when you see the big neon hot dog there.
Hello.
Hello. Nice place. Thank you.
Yeah, this is nice.
This jazz kissa opened in 2022.
It's very cozy. It's almost like you're stepping foot in someone's house.
During the week, owner Uno Yuya works as an engineer for a car manufacturer.
That sounds like jazz being performed by a theremin. Very interesting. When I was there, I wanted to go to a jazz bar. It was hard to get in, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, some of these, I mean, a lot of these places that we've seen here, really small places, they can fill up quite easily. And peak hours, yeah, good luck trying to get in. Hotodogu.
What does tonlist mean?
Music in Icelandic.
Music in Icelandic?
Yeah.
Wow. Have you spent much time in Iceland?
Yeah, only 3 times. Second time I go around Iceland.
So, specializing in Icelandic jazz music. I mean, I've heard of niching down, but goodness.
Ah, okay. And what kind of equipment are you using? Those speakers look quite old.
These are vintage speakers from the UK.
Ah.
I've always loved music and high-end
done.
audio. For me, audio equipment isn't just about great sound, but
Idetta Mastering, SDM. Yeah, this is rare stuff, isn't it? Look at the size of those heat sinks, though. So many controls, yeah. For audiophiles, you can never have enough dials and switches.
also cool industrial design. I wanted people to see that beauty for themselves, so I filled the shop with various items I've collected over the years.
And I'm over here with $20 earbuds. I mean, it's... The audiophile's journey can be as simple as starting with a nice pair of noise-cancelling headphones from something like Sennheiser, or even Sony.
Okay, yes, they are. From a design point of view, they're very attractive as well. Thank you.
Ah, they're
should
famous hot
try it.
dogs. Was that mayo on that hot dog? No, that's cheese. Looks like cheese.
It's different from the regular hot dog. It's a proper sausage.
It has both fried and fresh onions, which is how they do it in Iceland.
Okay, so bit of a take on like a bratwurst or something, but Icelandic style. I was about to say that's way too much mayo on a hot dog. Yeah, mayo on a hot dog, that just... No. No. Mustard. That's the proper thing to put on a hot dog, especially the bratwurst. Maybe ketchup if you're so inclined, but mustard. But cheese? Yeah. Only an audio fan for the stream audience. Actually can't tell that much difference between my Audio-Technica earphones and my cheap gym earbuds. I mean, some people have the ear, some people don't. I know I certainly do, but that's built up from spending 10 years in radio broadcasting, having high-end headphones and microphones, and making use of those on a daily basis. Mustard, ketchup, and chili. Oh, yes. Chili would go well, especially with an Icelandic bratwurst with onions sort of baked in like that, yeah.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. That's really nice. You come to a jazz Kissa, you expect to see coffee and maybe tea. Hot dogs was kind of new to me.
When I visited Iceland, gas stations were kind of like their version of convenience stores. They always had these...
The version of convenience stores for a lot of places. No. Cheese on a hot dog is good. In California, we have a lot of specialty fusion hot dogs. Yeah, no. Cheese, that's really... This looks like they got some gravy or something on there. Which I mean, I suppose for a sausage with onions and whatnot, it's not so bad.
Fresh hot dogs made on the spot, and they were delicious. So when I was deciding what to serve at my own jazz Kissa, I knew it had to be hot dogs.
Hot dogs with
what I
coffee.
find so wonderful about Tonlist
It's an interesting
is that it's
combination, I'll give them
clearly
that.
a new kind of cafe. It's such a new take on the concept, yet he doesn't hesitate to call it a jazz Kissa. That really reflects the history and enduring significance of the jazz Kissa.
Do you feel that you're part of that history?
I do. I opened the shop precisely because I wanted to keep that legacy going. It's not easy to achieve this volume and fidelity at home, so to be able to really immerse yourself in the music in a place like this is a lot of fun. That's what I enjoy most and why I want to keep doing this.
In one sense, jazz Kissa have passed their golden age. On the other hand, there are new ones like this place starting up. How do you see the future?
We've been hearing that jazz Kissa are on the verge of extinction since the 90s, but they continue to persevere.
I mean, you can only keep that line up for so long before people are just like, nah, bruh, I just don't believe you. If you've had 30 years to go extinct and you haven't gone extinct, it's safe to say, especially with some of the places we've seen here in this particular program, kind of entering a new golden age of sorts. So if anything, the opposite of extinction is true. Yeah, very small apartments that, yeah, no space for high-end audio equipment like that with a lot of Japanese flats. Just like pandas, lol. Yeah, somehow nature finds a way. We have one that have like diced mango, onions, and spicy mayo and bacon bits. Very good. Sounds interesting. Bit of spicy, bit of sweet, and bit of savory. Put it all together, and it's just mad enough to work. Next time when I go to Japan, I'll try to go to Jazz Kissa. Yes, I recommend everybody take in the live jazz scene, but also try and find yourself a good Jazz Kissa. It's a relaxing experience. And a good way to, especially if you're in a large city like Tokyo, good to get away from the hustle and bustle, at least for a little while. Kind of reset your batteries a bit.
Jazz too. People have been saying jazz is dead for decades.
No.
Yet it lives on. I think the strength of jazz and jazz
will never die.
lies in their ability to adapt to every era.
Do you ever take
I would dare say that with the advent of artificial intelligence and the creation of AI music, one of the first genres that AI music composition adapted to so well was the jazz genre, to the point now where we are seeing a lot of videos, especially on platforms like YouTube, where they've got a lot of jazz music to them, set to them.
requests here? Usually, no. But sometimes I receive, I accept. Today.
Yeah, it's just like radio. They don't take requests, which people used to argue with me all the time. It's like, Rex, come on. I call into the radio station all the time, and they're always taking requests. I'm just like, you have probably gotten lucky and picked something that was already on the playlist, but the radio stations do not take requests. If it's in the playlist, they will play it. If not, they'll just lie to you and say, okay, we'll see if we have that. And if it's not in the playlist, it's not getting played, because the big thing that stopped radio stations from taking requests, at least in America, was a scandal involving payola. Certain record companies, executives, agents paying large radio stations money to play certain records, certain singles, certain songs, to give certain artists an unfair advantage. And so it got to the point where it's just like all playlists will be decided by people in New York or Los Angeles or Chicago, and we're just going to decide all of that for all of the radio stations that we have across the country. And if it's in the playlist, it's in the playlist. If not, it's not. And we will just continue on with this veneer or facade where we pretend like we take requests, but we're not really taking requests. Unless they ask for it of me, and then it still has to be something they already have. Yeah, they don't have it on the playlist. If it's not in the lineup, they'll just lie to you and say, "Well, we'll see if we have that. We'll look for it," and then they never do.
It's okay because we're the only people here. An English trumpeter called Matthew Halsall. Yeah. I know him. Also like, yeah.
Oh, he brought his own.
It's the second track on this side. Okay.
Second track, goodness. He is rather particular, isn't he? May have to mute portions of this when I upload it to YouTube later. Beautiful music, though. That was a good program. That's available from NHK World. We'll definitely give that a like. Japanology Plus is a fantastic show. Peter Berkan, really good host. He's been in Japan for well over 50 years now. I believe he's half Japanese, half British. And he got his start as a DJ on the radio. And I believe he was playing jazz music to start out with. And has always been a bit of a jazz aficionado. So we'll go ahead and throw that into the chat for everybody. Do make sure that you give NHK World a follow and catch more of their content. Some of it's better than others. Japanology Plus is a good program. They have some other ones like Dining with the Chef, which is a good cooking program. Train Cruise is an interesting one, showcasing tourism trains throughout parts of rural Japan. Now, Japanology has always been, it's a very long-running program on NHK World. It started out as Weekend Japanology, weekend program, a lot of in-studio bits with some on location, and then they switched over the format to Begin Japanology, going into a lot of the basics of Japan and Japanese culture. And then sometime about roughly, I think, 10 years ago, they switched the format again a little bit and changed the name to Japanology Plus. If you can find old episodes on YouTube of Begin Japanology, I mean, they go back a long way. NHK World has been broadcasting to the world in English since, I think, like the late 2000s. So they've got an extensive library. It's just, it has been hard to find it except through, certain grey market uploads on YouTube, certain fans of certain programs. I don't know. In recent years, they have I think their repertoire has sort of declined in a sense. A lot of really good programs just fell off because of the pandemic. There was one that was really good about fun things to do in Tokyo called Tokyo Eye. They changed it to Tokyo Eye 2020 for the 2020 Olympics. And then shortly after that, with tourism just grinding to a halt in Japan, wasn't much use for the program like that, and so sadly it went off the air. I do wish they would bring it back, though. Some of the original contributors are still within HK, and they are part of another program called Dive in Tokyo, which it's fairly decent. It's got kind of a meta-time theme, or some sort of water-based theme, with Tokyo being a bit of a port city.